on emerging trends in information technology and data science, INCETIT 20, in association with PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, IETE, New Delhi. It's an honor to welcome the panel experts to panel discussion on data analytics in Industry 4.0. As quoted by Albert Einstein, discussion and arguments are essential part of science. The greatest talent is the ability to strip a theory and a basic idea emerges with clarity. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the intellect pool for today's session, starting with the expert and session moderator, Mr. Rishikesh Patankar, Chief Operating Officer in CSC E-Governance Services India Limited. And our expert panelists for today are Professor Sanjeeva Shankar Dubey, Professor BMTech, Mr. Deepak Sharma, co-founder and COO at Rekak XAI, and Mr. Ashok Bhatt, Director R&D in Synopsys Emulation Division. We welcome you all, sir.
Industry 4.0 initiative has received a splendid attention of the business and research community and is a commonly accepted term for research centers and universities. It is a new beginning of technological era. It is characterized by factories augmented with wireless connectivity and sensors, cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, Industrial Internet of Things, cloud computing, cognitive computing, artificial intelligence are the backbone technologies of Industry 4.0.
There has been an exponential increase in the number of data sources, both archival and in real time. Additionally, there has been improvement in data networks and infrastructure that has furthered this immense data accumulation. Data is not equal to value. To create value with data need analytics. Analytics facilitates data reduction to actionable items, thus creates value.
Data analytics in Industry 4.0 has made remarkable progress and unprecedented challenges. For further discussion in this area, we have with us Mr. Rishikesh Patankar, expert speaker and panelist and session moderator. Mr. Rishikesh Patankar has more than 20 years of experience, including stints at National Research and Development Lab in Indian Navy and top universities abroad. He also holds 3 master's degree in computer science and is NET qualified. He also manages large-scale multiple projects in ICT domain and is currently working as Chief Operating Officer in CSC E-Governance Services India Limited, SPV under Ministry of Electronics and IT, looking after education, skill development and CSC Academy.
Please unmute. Ahimsaji, please unmute.
The second expert panelist is Professor Sanjeeva Shankar Dubey, Professor BMTech. Professor Dubey is a well-known technology expert with over 30 years of IT industry leadership experience while working with IBM and Tata Group. He is currently professor at BMTech, Greater Noida. In addition, he is also a visiting professor at IIM Lucknow, FMS Delhi University, and SPGN Dubai and Singapore. He has authored 12 management books and published 25 research papers. His last assignment in IBM was as Asia Pacific Service Delivery Executive, responsible for 17 countries in Asia Pacific region. He successfully led the digital transformation initiative of IBM and is credited to have established IBM Technology Transformation Consulting (ICT) footprint in India by winning and executing 55 consulting assignments during 1995 to 2000. He was also responsible for IBM Airtel IBM outsourcing project executive, which witnessed exponential growth of Airtel subscribers from 6 to 260 million. He led Airtel IT operations in India, Sri Lanka, Channel Islands, and Bangladesh. His technology transformation consulting experience spans several large PSU and Indian corporations. Notable amongst them are Yulu, Jubilant, JBM, Sona Steering, ABB, NHI, Sony, Whirlpool, TVS, PSEB, Ministry of Textile, TRAI, Cochin Refinery, Ircon, and to name a few. He also led 2 startups ventures as CEO of Raffles Software Singapore and Bhilwara Infotech. He was distinguished member of IBM Academy of Technology, certified management consultant, project executive, and ITIL professional of IBM.
Our next panelist is Mr. Deepak Sharma. Mr. Deepak is adjunct faculty of data science at IIM Lucknow. He is also a co-founder and COO at RecogX.ai. He has vast experience of more than 16 years in the field of analytics, decision science, business intelligence, data modeling and data warehousing, data migration application development, service management. He has done his master's in marketing and finance from IIM Lucknow and a certification in business analytics from ISB Hyderabad. And also we have with us Mr. Ashok Bhatt, another expert in this area. Mr. Ashok Bhatt has done his master's from IIT Kanpur in 2002. Since then, Mr. Ashok has been working in the field of electronics design automation. He has been part of all major companies in this domain and most recently working as director, research and development in Synopsys Emulsion Division. His domain of expertise is compiler development for electronic design. We welcome you all, sir, for the discussion. Continue with this discussion and get the insights by the reputed and prominent speakers of today's discussion. I hand over the mic to Mr. Rishikesh Nakar. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction. I would like to initially thank Dr. Alok Pandey ji, Dr. Sachin Malhotra ji, Dr. Tapan Nayak sir, Dr. Sharma, Dr. Vedi for giving us this opportunity and giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. I am overwhelmed that I am with speakers who are experts in their own rights. Beginning my talk, I'll just take an example of Albert Einstein again, as Ainsa madam mentioned. There was a incident where it is said that Albert Einstein gave a particular exam to a class that had already been given that exam. And alarmed at this situation, there was a teaching assistant actually, who the teaching assistant warned Albert Einstein that what he was about to do. The professor just smiled and said, "Yes, I know. The questions are the same." The teaching assistant said, basically, the question paper is the same which you gave to the class last year. So so Albert Einstein said, "Yes, the questions are the same, but the answers have changed." So that is the reality now, and this is squarely applicable to the current situation post COVID-19. Beginning to this discussion, actually. Data analytics in industry 4.0, remarkable progress and unprecedented challenges. Yes, fourth industrial revolution has been a great success story for the country as a whole. And our topic, that is data analytics in industry, remarkable progress and unprecedented challenges. So fourth industrial revolution, in fact, the country has missed the till third industrial revolutions. We were not able to progress very well. But the fourth industrial revolution, which talks about emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, then robotics, the big data, data analytics, cloud, 3D printing, which another speaker in the morning session was mentioning, additive manufacturing, blockchain technology, machine learning, and Internet of Things, among others. It has actually revolutionized the overall situation. I think this has been a game changer. And in fact, the socio-economic improvement would also is expected to happen due to usage of these technologies. So beginning with what is the Indian landscape in terms of data. If you see, India is #1 in terms of largest unique digital identity program, that is Aadhaar. We have nearly 1.3 billion unique IDs, that is Aadhaar cards. Then in India, there are nearly 20 billion plus Android app downloads, which happen on a regular basis. Then if you see the latest TRI report, it says that nearly 1.16 billion mobile phone subscriptions are there. And in fact, the last month only, there was a report of Nielsen, which said that actually 10% of the users are from the rural area, more than the urban areas. So that is the revolution which is happening in the rural areas. The internet subscriptions have really grown up, and more or less we have 600 million plus internet subscriptions. So post-COVID, a lot of people have actually migrated to broadband, and a lot of people are using mobile internet as well. if you see the smartphone industry as a whole, we have 300 million plus smartphones being used, and users who are engaged on social media is nearly 300 plus million. So that is the usage, and that is the data being generated in the country as of now. And in fact, India is just behind China in most of the things. Other than digital identity, India is number one, as well as the Android app downloads, India is number one. Um, Talking further ahead, uh, Amitabh Kantji, Chief Executive of Niti Aayog, he said last fortnight only that India is targeting 1 billion digital transactions per day. So that is the amount of digital transactions and the data which will get generated in the country in terms of that. And India is now also a member of the Global Partnerships on Artificial Intelligence, which deals a lot of with data. It says that responsible development and usage of AI, the integration of data, which is for inclusion, diversity, innovation, and economic growth. So that is the thing. Then Nandan Nilekani, in fact, in the last, there was a Digital India conference 2 days back. He said that AI-backed digital India is the future of e-governance. So I think that is a reality. And Russian President Vladimir Putin actually once said that the country that takes lead in the sphere of data analytics, and artificial intelligence will actually rule the world. So beginning with this, Government of India is also supporting a lot in terms of fourth industrial revolution as such. The budgets, if you look at the budget speech in 2019, 20, and the recent budget speech, it talks about the new age skills like blockchain, AI, IoT, big data, and virtual reality and robotics as well. Niti Aayog, in fact, has set up a national program in terms of data analytics, artificial intelligence, and a lot of research and development will happen in the areas related to it. If you see the government initiatives, there are citizen-centric services where a lot of data gets generated. So there is, in fact, millions, trillions of data gets generated, and there needs to be a application which manages all this. Then there is a need for data platforms. In fact, a lot of servers have now been moved into India, and the new law on data is coming. I think it will become a law very soon. Then skilling, reskilling, and R&D is the main focus, in fact, on data analytics. And we need to take care when we are seeing the data and we are storing this data. The important issues comes about the legal regularity of the data, integrity of the data, and the cyber security. How my data doesn't get misused. So these are the things where government is focusing. And there are high-level research areas where a lot of research is going on. Establishing center of excellence on data analytics, on AI is also being seen. Data analytics is seen more as a socio-economic problem solver, actually. So government thinks that artificial intelligence and technologies like this is more of a socio-economic problem solver. And if you see data analytics industry is estimated to be growing continuously, and 2025, I think it will be at the full flow. If you see vertical wise data analytics, we are using it in manufacturing, financial technologies, fintech companies, healthcare industry. In fact, in COVID, you will see a lot of data which was being generated through Arogya Setu app, and a lot of other parallel applications which are running for healthcare. Then agriculture is a big area where government is focusing. Technology for differently abled or the Divyang people, and how that data gets generated, how they get benefited. Then national security is one of the aspect. Environment is one of the other aspects. Public utility service, which I am part of, is a big vertical where data is getting generated. Then retail customer relationships are the areas where data gets generated. And lastly, the education space. In fact, we were not able to use e-learning and other methods before COVID-19, but COVID-19 has in fact directed us that we need to use all this. So if you see the last budget speech of our Honorable Finance Minister, she talked about deep data analytics and AI tools, and which are being used for crackdown on GST input tax credit, as well as refund and other frauds, and which will also identify who are trying to game with the system. So that is what she mentioned in her budget speech. If you again look on the World Economic Forum indexes Future of Work 2020, it's the number one item over there is data, and the number two item is AI, data and AI, then engineering and cloud computing, people, culture, product development, sales, marketing, then care economy and green economy. These are the things. And if you see the overall job index and the job placements and other things, there is a term called economy which is being used. So you need to be one of the best in order to survive. So you need to acquire new skills. Post COVID, many of us, in fact, sitting at home, are trying to acquire new skills so that we become relevant in today's world, and data has been the forefront in that scenario. I'll give an example, a small example, where there is a frog actually in Amazon rainforest, and this frog basically, which it sits on a log and it watches the flies in the middle of the rainforest. And there is a typical scenario with this frog that his data is 1 second delayed, and because of that he is not able to attack that particular insect and is able to eat it, and that is why he dies. So seeing this example, it is said that you need to be very relevant in terms of data. If you are out of data and out of information, you will basically lose because of the hunger, and you will subsequently die. So that is the value of data. And in fact, our Prime Minister also, he has talked about Aatmanirbhar Bharat, and the data, the information which is available at village, at the Gram Panchayat, at the district level, needs to be curated. And in fact, data becomes the most important criteria. And lastly, I'll like to say, Sir Isaac Newton, actually, he said that if I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of the giants. It is related to a story between ostrich and giraffe. When there is a danger, the ostrich typically bows down and it hides under the sand. Whereas giraffe, since the giraffe is tall, he picks out his neck up, and he looks out at the danger. So Isaac Newton basically said that if I have seen further than the others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of the giants. And lastly, about the data protection law, since we have implemented the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR) guidelines, and Personal Data Protection Bill is approved by the Union Cabinet, it will be soon a reality. So it is very important to understand and use the data in the right way. There are a lot of technology changes which is happening in various areas. I'll come back to that. And talking about the challenge, basically the challenges in terms of data remains inaccessible data, the poor quality of data, and most of our software systems lack because of narrow band of the data. So that is very important. Poor quality, then visual representation of data is not there. In fact, now Government of India has focused on dashboards. If you see the Prime Minister's office, as well as a lot of other minister's office, as well as at the secretary level, there are dashboards which are created for every project, and they are able to monitor, so that they are able to pinpoint the necessary gaps and are able to fill this. So based on this, I'll stop here. I'll basically move to our first expert speaker, Professor Sanjeeva Shankar Dubey ji, professor in BIMTech. Sir, good afternoon to you. I would like to know what are the technologies and how these technologies are transforming in these tumultuous times. We have COVID-19 pandemic and the fourth industrial revolution, and how the technologies are basically transforming in these times. I would like to know your opinion, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, so thanks Rishikesh ji, and thanks to Alok sir and Tapan sir and Sachin sir for inviting me. I sometimes feel that I am the odd man out in this gathering, because I have seen this technology going from different stages. Okay, and from the punch card to online and so on. And every time we were told that this technology is the technology and nothing further is required, and we have done everything. So like the children clothing, we buy a cloth for the children and it runs short after 2 years or 6 months because they grow very fast. So none of us, my first message would be that this time is a very difficult time for all of us. We do not know the magnitude, the impact, and the effect of this lockdown and virus and distancing, social distancing, disruption of supply chain. So it is a very difficult times. Okay. Now there are 2 or 3 technologies which have come on the center stage because of this new requirements which have come up. The first one is all the technologies which are promoting touchless activity. Okay. So touchless technology, wherever there is a touch involved, that we need to avoid. Okay. So things like near field communication, IoT and sensor-based technology. So all that what is required needs to be considered. The other technology, if you allow me, I just wanted to share a slide. So is that visible? Okay. So I'm just talking about these 9 technologies. And I've got 2 ordinates which I have created. This is just to say how much technology skill we have and how much social skill we have. The social skill is, are we ready to change our behavior? And technology is, are we making investment in our technology? With all the good words my predecessor you have spoken, we are still running short of what we need to do. Okay, otherwise all the crisis today of contact tracing would not have taken place. Okay, we would have already found out who is moving from where. Even though we claim that we all have, say, everybody in the Aadhaar recognized, and we have got the largest telecom population, but somewhere the implementation was a challenge. So that is where the social prowess comes up. So are we ready for our implementation? Many a times we are good in saying that we know, but really we do not know. Frankly, I mean, that may be applicable to me also. So coming back to this question here, definitely this cloud computing, wireless communication, big data, AI, ML, blockchain, analytics, additive manufacturing, social media. These are the technologies which are going to make impact, and they are going to help us in this tumultuous times, because these times are difficult times. And my suggestion is that do not just focus on the technology change, but worry about the change in the way we are operating, the process change, and also the behavior of the people and the skill set of the people. So I will stop here and then wait for some more questions from coming up.
Thank you, Sanjeeva sir, for your inputs on social prowess as well as technology prowess, and how promoting touchless technology would work. I think this is a brilliant idea, and in fact, a lot of areas where we are actually used to touch, like in retail space where we go, and malls, in fact, and other places, we need to change the overall strategy. So thank you so much. Coming to expert Shri Deepak Sharma ji, sir. Sir, I would like to know what kind of businesses will actually get attention due to this COVID pandemic, and how you see the future in the coming years.
Well, yes, thank you very much for giving me chance to present my thoughts. Before I say anything, like in the starting, a lot of things and talked about me, that about my profile and everything. So I would like to tell everybody that that profile is for the external world, but for this session, for this like a webinar, my only identity is that I'm one of the student of Professor Dubey, and I attended his lecture during, and I'm Lucknow, and with his blessing, I would like to start. So the question that has been asked, like what kind of business will get attention due to COVID-19? If this question would have asked on 15th of March, my answers would be different. But today, like in the last 3 months, I've done a lot of observations across like my friend circle, the business and all. And if I simply ask, if you question that what all things you have bought in the last 3 months, where you have spent money. So most of the answer will come from the like in healthcare, that all the necessary like in items, that hand sanitization and all the like in require preventive action measures in the healthcare. And second ones come from the e-commerce, right? The groceries item. So if we ask from ourselves, like where we are spending, because we are driving the market, we are driving the business, consumer is driving the business. When we are not going to buy any stuff in the outside world because of the obvious reason that we should not be going out, it is automatically impacting the business and it is directly impacting the economy. Now, what all business will get attention in the COVID-19, this question is for those who look opportunities in the problem. And because we all sounded with a lot of problems here, and what kind of opportunity we can see out of it. The very first one is the healthcare, because when we all are at home, and you must have observed that a lot of like an irregularities in our day-to-day behavior, in our schedule, we have observed, like sleeping pattern might have changed, the eating and fooding pattern might have changed, your office pattern might have changed. So a lot of like a disorder which we are seeing, which we are experiencing, may be going to impact our health. And I would see that healthcare is one of the area which will definitely get attention, which will talk about the self-care, which will talk about like we should stay fit and we should not be a part of the mental illness and disorder. A lot of examples we are seeing in social media also, just because of this social disorder, people are committing suicides also. Right, so that's why healthcare is very much important area that it will get impacted. Second one is e-commerce. Like even I also bought all the grocery items from the e-commerce. For example, Amazon is providing it, so I bought all the grocery items from there. There are many other e-commerce platforms have started. A lot of people are giving like a good business to this e-commerce, and it's a need also, because we cannot go outside and we cannot risk our life, and when we have the alternatives available. So e-commerce is a second business which is definitely going to get attention in the COVID-19. And if I talk about third one, that is like what the logistics. So when we bought something, it is depend on the logistics to bring that stuff to our door. So it's we can call it last mile delivery. Even the logistics of fuel has started. So now you can demand for petrol and diesel at your door, and you will get it. Today only I was like seeing one of the headlines in the newspaper that a company has got a good projects from the infrastructure companies and from other big businessmen. So last mile delivery of fuel is also taking a lot of momentum. And so this is one of the area which will definitely get attention. And the fourth one is like we all are spending time at home. So entertainment. If we talk about Netflix, I talk about Amazon Prime, talk about Geo platform, a lot of entertainment is required, because now everybody's at home, our skilled kids are also at home, all family members are at home. So entertainment is only measure through which we can do some good like enjoyment, because we are not allowed to go out, and we are not risk our life to go out and visit places. So entertainment is the next one. And then the yes, insurance, because people are talking about like insurance is something required, because the future is unpredictable here, and and a lot of new things are coming up, and that has not been covered in your current insurance plan, and people are like quite aware about that. It is required. Now, insurance sector is another one which will definitely get attention. And as I said, that in the case of entertainment and in the case of e-commerce, the backbone is digital, which is like supporting infrastructure for us. In this session, we are connecting with the internet service, and with that internet service provided by the internet service provider, you must have seen that in the case of Jio, a lot of companies are investing. Now, why they are investing? Because they are seeing that this is going to be a future as a need of each and every person whosoever is trying to connect digitally. If we talk about the companies also, they are looking for collaborative items like team and some other tools, because now people are working from home. So collaboration tool will definitely get required in the day-to-day life and business. And activity monitoring. So like a lot of activity monitoring things the companies are thinking of these days, and so that they can check the productivity, they can measure the productivity, because a lot of pressure is there in the business, on the business also. And in one of the discussion, the things has come up like the gig economy. Now, this gig economy is also flourishing, because a lot of companies are like laying off many employees, like not even in India, like if you go abroad, a lot of people are losing their job. And now the companies in position to afford a very big like a group of people and a very good strength of people and having no business. So now when they are not having the employees, so they will definitely look for the gig economy part where they can demand labor whenever they have a requirement. So gig economy is definitely going to get a lot of attention. And the last but not the least is the education, because education will be the like a platform on which all these things we can able to achieve. Because when we increase our knowledge, increase our skill, we'll be able to contribute in the healthcare, we'll be able to contribute in the e-commerce, logistics, entertainment, and digital infrastructure. So education is definitely going to get attention. And yes, with the help of technology only, and because a lot of universities has come up and they have started like sharing the knowledge. So all the walls around the the institutions has gone down. Now the bridges are set up where the knowledge can be shared. The institutes are no longer is a plateau or is a like an island of knowledge. Now they are connected, and this connection is actually helping everybody to get knowledge, to get education from all the elite people in the world. And that's why education is also definitely going to get attention in the COVID-19 era. So this is from my side for the first question. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak sir. In fact, you mentioned about insurance. In fact, if we see the data which is released, there are many people who don't have life insurance in the country, as well as the vehicle insurance, the third party insurance and other. In fact, rural India is far behind in terms of insurance. And in fact, after COVID-19, IRDA has been behind insurance companies, and a lot of new terms and conditions are being included in the health policy. I think this is a very good aspect which you brought out, and also the activity monitoring and education. In fact, that is moving ahead. Deepak sir, I would like to know what is the scope of data science actually in terms of growing business, and during these difficult times, how you see the data science industry growing, and what is the overall scope of data science, as you are expert on data science. So I'd like to know your comments on this, sir.
Thank you, sir. So like when I talk about this business, so this business will come up with some challenges also. So in order to understand how data science is going to help business, we first need to understand what all challenges this business are going to see. And then only we'll able to appreciate the power of data science, that how it is going to help us. If I talk about challenges, the very first challenge, important challenge, is data security. So when everybody is working from anywhere, not only home, but anywhere, right? So data security is one of the very key factor. And we have brought up a lot of policies and everything, but still our data is at stake. And every day we got some news that some data has got leaked from one platform, and we are under threat of using some of the platforms, that the data security is at stake. So this is one of the very, very important and challenging area, because businesses cannot be run on a toss. The data is the key here. And if it has been compromised, then the whole business will get compromised. So data security is one area which definitely companies are going to see a big challenge. Second is a business impact, because when we are working for a company, that company is also working for another company. So there's a cascading effect, like because they are also serving their customer. So if their customer is not demanding anything, if their customer has withdrawn all the projects, then definitely the company for which we are working, they will also comes under a very huge pressure. So that business impact is a second challenge, which I see that is definitely going to impact the business scenario today. And the third one is if I talk about the employees absenteeism, because everybody is being impacted by this, like in COVID-19, and a lot of other things are getting pressure, like impacting the thought process of human. Like if I'm spending the whole day at home, so in the starting it looked good that I'm spending time with the family and everything, but 100% of everything is always dangerous. Everybody look for a flexibility. They should go to the office also, and they see that in social interaction is also very important. And but because of this absenteeism, because a lot of like lifestyle disorder, which I see that going to impact the workers of the company, and that may lead to the absenteeism part. And the fourth one is a restriction on the non-essential travel. Now, this is another area where companies are definitely going to focus on that. They should be restricting that if it is not required, then don't travel. And that's the reason that we are working from home. So this is another challenge, because earlier, because when we interact with other like in face to face, and then it makes things very easy to understand, and we cannot express everything over the call. We cannot express everything over the internet. Sometimes physical presence is also necessary. But because of the current situation, this is a big challenge. If I'm not talking about within the city, I'm talking about across country. Now, if I talk about other areas, that yes, work from home is another big challenge which companies are definitely going to see, because not all businesses can be done from home. If I talk about manufacturing, we cannot build a car from home. We have to go to the workshop, we have to go to the industry and then work on the machine. So this is the area which is definitely going to impact the businesses. So I'm talking about all these challenges because then only I'll be able to say that how data science can help it. And the last one is like the performance pressure with the limited resources. Now, when the resources are less and there are a lot of restriction and the constraint, so there is huge performance pressure. And that performance pressure is definitely going to impact the output or the throughput of a person who is working, or the company also. Now, these are all challenges which I observed personally in the last 3 months, and that's why I would like to bring it first. Now, let's talk about how data science is going to help it. Now, a lot of onus goes on the planning and implementation. And when we talk about planning and implementation, we are at one side, we are trying to reduce the workforce. At the other side, we are expecting new businesses. Now, how to plan and how to implement the changes so that my workforce should not get impacted by the people who are with me for a very long time in my business. They should not be leaving me. At the same time, I should be in position to give a confidence to my customer. Yes, I still have resources who can work on this particular problem statement. So the decision will not be on an intuition based; it is more data based. So that's why the planning and implementation will be very much required. Now, how it is going to affect is, if I'm having a system, if I'm having a company, like we have to set up the company on a couple of parameters, like am I getting a resources available there? Am I getting a raw material available there? Or am I getting a marketing or the sales platform available, right? Or maybe the government is thinking in the same direction which I'm thinking. However, in these days, people like companies will start thinking of not concentrating the whole unit at one location. They will be trying to segregate that. They will try to, I would say, redundancy in the production. Now, when they have a redundancy in the production, a lot of works get repeated, and there's a big hit on the bottom line. Now, this AI-driven methodologies, AI-driven processes will definitely going to help the companies to reduce that the load on the bottom line and get some profits. Second thing is, like when I say that companies will be looking for more on the nearby area where they can control the operations. So they will definitely look for the computer vision robotics kind of stuff, like where they are spending for at the initial stage. But yes, they will be able to monitor. They will be able to speed up the process, speed up the production. So computer vision and robotics is the second area where I'm looking for more like an application in the business. The third is the cybersecurity. Yes, we need to identify the patterns. Like I think last week only we got one mail from one of our clients that they are thinking of getting hit by some cyber attack, right? So these all things which is going to impact the businesses. And yes, the data science is going to help in the cybersecurity by identifying the new patterns, not only previous one, but the new patterns, and try to define that this particular an attack is a cyber attack or it's a normal process. That is a part of the business. And the algo-driven life. So algo-driven life is going to be a very key measure for e-commerce, the entertainment, the healthcare. When we see something on a Netflix, we expect that the next stuff will come automatically depending on my taste and my liking and disliking, right? So that algo-driven life is very much required. Same is in the healthcare when we have all the connected devices. Somebody is talking about the IoT stuff. So it is ultimately the algo-driven life that we are going to live, and it is going to give a very good support to the business. Then the balance between data privacy and the tracking. So we have to be very much able to make that balance because we can come across some life-threatening diseases also, which should not be bypassed just because that the data privacy is an issue. Right, and the next one is streaming analytics, which is an area where like in this COVID-19, the Arogya Setu app, we are experiencing this streaming analytics part. We are able to see that the movement and how the data is coming to my platform and how to save my people from this pandemic. So streaming analytics, which is started at a very later stage, but now it is taking momentum. And the another area is a robust NLP. So I was a part of the FDP program where Professor Alok Dubey talked about that the NLP should not be restricted to the English. It should go to the grassroots level as well. It should go to the local dialect as well. When a person who is sitting in a village would be able to use that NLP, then it's a robust NLP. Otherwise, it's just a high level, like an understanding or high level offering. So I fully agree with what Professor said on that session, and I see that this is a very important area where data science is going to help in. And another is a fake news, which is it's really pain because on the WhatsApp everything is getting forwarded and without any authentication. So that fake news should get curbed, and data science is going to help in understanding by applying the robust NLP part and see that whether this news is correct or not by validating it from the sources, from the media sources, or from the news and from the institutes and universities or the business, and then authenticate that news, and then that news should get propagated. So robust NLP. And the adoption of cloud computing and edge computing, which is again a very important area because we have to process the data, and without having a proper infrastructure, we cannot do that. And last but not the least, the educating our employees that follow all the necessary protection like thermal scanning and the mask. And whenever we are coming to office, we should be following that. And on those lines only, we build our product as well. That is like in Tista, where it is touchless, like a system for like an attendance and access, and it also measures the thermal temperature. So we are selling that product into the MSMEs, into the companies also, where if you come to there, your body temperature gets scanned and you get the attendance automatically without touching the surface. So as Professor Dubey about, so we are also working that lines, and we have launched our product. So these are the things I would like to highlight from the scope of data science in the business during COVID-19. Thank you.
Right, sir. Deepak sir, thank you for your insight. In fact, algo-driven life, data privacy, and robust NLP. These are the examples where we need to focus, and I think that will actually impact the rural citizens as well as the common man in the country. Coming to Ashok Bhatt sir, you are leading the R&D in Synopsys, and I would like to know about the data analytics part, in fact, and how the new normal for industry, and how you define the new normal for industry in terms of data analytics. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Rishikesh sir. I mean, very much making me part of this esteemed panel, and I would like to thank all the faculty members, dean, director of IMS Ghaziabad to give me this opportunity to speak and share my views on it. So I actually I belong to a semiconductor industry, so I am very close to all these development technology, whatever we are speaking about. I am very close to following this development, like how this development is happening, what's basically going to come next, and how these companies, like all these companies we are talking about, how they're creating those AI chips and all. So I would like to share, like, I mean, see what is new normal. So I mean, sometime back, like, I mean, people would have never imagined that, I mean, that every device is going to have the wireless connectivity. Today, you buy any device, it will have wireless connectivity. So this is a new normal. A few years back, it was just like a dream. Like, I mean, we never thought, like, even my air purifier will come with the Wi-Fi connectivity, or even my lights. Like, I can switch on, switch off the lights sitting at any place. So that is something is defining the new normal. Like automobile sector, you go to automobile sector, you look at the car. Every car is smart car today. Until, I mean, this was a luxury segment a couple of years back. Now, but today, even a 5 lakh car is a smart car. So this is what is defining the new normal. It is all getting possible because of this, all the technology driven, this data science and data analytics. So now, how it is going to define, I mean, it is more towards the technology, like whatever I am speaking is more towards the technology aspect, because I work in a technical sector. So how it is going to change? Today, now we are talking about clouds. So everybody is talking about cloud. There is a big farm available. There is a big compute power available where you can basically run your all the compute intensive jobs, like in medicals, like in weather forecasting, like in so many areas you require so much of the compute power. It is available on the farms. But how it is changing the IT company? So all the software companies now are moving to clouds. What does it essentially mean? They are cutting down their IT cost. So there is a big IT department in every software company, which basically takes care of the hardware, like making these computers available to the engineers, making those licenses of the software available to the customer to the developers, and all kind of things. But now the companies are essentially cutting down their cost, and you are seeing like what we are calling it, the departments are becoming IT less. So most of the software companies just like buying the clouds on Amazon or Google or Microsoft, any clouds, but not spending anything on the IT. So that's what basically a spend a saving in terms of saving the IT cost. The other things like which we can see is all the semiconductor industries, or not only semiconductor industry, all the software giants, like you talk about Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, all of these are investing in creating the AI chips. All these AI chips are we are talking about creating military robots. We are talking about creating agricultural robots. We are talking about autonomous vehicles. Like autonomous vehicles has already been tested at so many, like when Tesla and Google been testing those autonomous vehicles. So we're talking about so many the uses of these AI chips, which will basically enable a next generation of technologies. And one point which again also I would like to highlight is we've been talking about the security of the data. Security of the data is a very big thing to talk about. But security of data is not just about the personal security of the data or the data not being leaked or not being basically not coming under a virus attack. So data security is required because we are talking about autonomous vehicle. Now imagine somebody hacking those, like now with an autonomous vehicle, what will happen is there will be a lot of amount of software sitting on the car, which is basically helping it make the decision where to drive, when to stop, how to move forward. And now if that is being attacked, now if that is being basically attacked, hacked and basically driven in a malicious way, it can lead to loss of life, which is very dangerous. Technology cannot afford to have basically a loss of life. And that is where basically the lot of focus on how to secure those data, how to secure those software. And another very important thing, like this comes from the chip industry, the semiconductor industry. The another very big challenge in making those technologies available to masses is the detecting of, like in what we call is a fault tolerance. Now you imagine, there are chips, there are several chips which are sitting in cars, on basically so many robots and all these things. Now what if the chip malfunctions? Like we can basically be okay if our mobile is not working, but we cannot be okay if our hardware malfunctions when we are when we are having a autonomous car. So what we call it is a fault tolerance. So now the biggest challenge is how to detect if the hardware has been malfunctioned and how to correct it automatically without basically having any impact on the consumer of that particular application. So this is where basically I think the new normal would be having those AI chips driving those so many applications going forward. And this is my take on basically data analytics role in making those highly commendable technologies available to masses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok sir. You brought out the costing aspect of that, as well as the data security aspect, as well as the AI based chips, which are important. I'll just like to check if we have more time so that I can. Ainsa, madam, do we have time?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So basically, if talking about the challenges, in fact, our speakers brought it out very well about the challenges, Ashok sir as well as Deepak sir. I just wanted to check with any speaker can respond actually in terms of a narrow band of data actually, because a lot of software applications and applications which will give inputs to the policy makers depends on the data. And if data is not there, or data is inaccessible, or there is poor quality of data, the applications will not work. And because of this narrow band data, most of the applications will suffer, and there may be certain important parameters which get missed. So just wanted to understand from the speaker if anybody can respond on this aspect.
So,
yeah,
Ashok, you would like to go, or shall I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so you're talking about the narrow band of data, and yes, it is very important. There's a reason behind it. Like data is a new oil that we have all heard about these days. Now, if it's our responsibility as well to contribute for that. Now, when we have like institutes like IMS and many other institutes which are conducting so many research, so those data will act as an adharshila for all these data science related activities. Reason being, when we have the good quality data, then only our the models will be able to work effectively. Otherwise, there will be a garbage in and garbage out. So this is a simple rule that we follow in our data science field. And a lot of contribution will require from the common man also, who will be ready to take part in such trials. Who will be, because not every data is so sensitive, right? Or when we are talking about digital world, when we're talking about internet, data privacy is just a myth, which I understand from my personal experience, right? When you are using everything on the, like we are telling clearly on the platform that I'm going to one place to another, right? Where is my privacy at that time, right? So when we talk about the privacy, then we should not be coming on these smartphones. When we talk about privacy, we should not be interacting over the internet on the social media, right? So not every data is private. Some data we need to contribute also for the research purpose, and that's why. So I was attending one of the lecture in my institute, and I simply asked my professor that why, sir, we have all the case studies from US, why not from India? Are we not doing business here? Are we don't have good players in India? But why we always have to study the case studies of US, and how can you expect that those case studies will be applicable in India also? The consumer is different, right? Their likes and dislikes are different. I cannot be applying the same rules here in Indian market. So he simply gave me one clear answer that Deepak, here people are not ready to share the data. Then how can we expect us to build some case studies on it? Right, and that's the reason that if the companies come up and they try to they like to share the data, then it will be the benefit of the whole society. And when we talk about the Aatmanirbharta of our country, then we have to generate that data on our own, and we should be ready to give it to the research institutes to work on it. And this is the only thing which I like to say from the data availability part, because I've seen across in other countries that they are open to take part in the clinical trials. Maybe they get benefit or not, I don't know about that part, but they feel that it is required for the society. It is required for the benefit of society. Even the COVID-19 vaccines also, people have already come up and asked that, yes, put the injections, and I'm ready to take part in the research of getting the disease, because then only we'll able to give a good results to our society. And it's a responsibility of every citizen to pay back to the society, which is the ultimately objective of any business. So yes, data is narrow these days, and we require a lot of contribution from everybody.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. If we see the data protection bill actually, what it means for the consumer as such. So data can be processed or shared by any entity only after the consent. So if you look at the Aadhaar or any other application where consent is taken before the data is getting processed, and also the safeguards related to the data, there are penalties which will be brought into the data protection bill, as well as all the data will be categorized into three heads, basically: general, sensitive, and critical. Also, companies need to be more focused, like social media data, which is coming up. Social media firms need to formulate voluntary verification processes of data. Then sharing data without consent there will be a fine for that. And then data breach or inaction will also entail a fine. So these are some of the aspects which are into the data protection bill. And once it becomes a law, I think there will be a lot of movement in terms of data security and data privacy as well. And cyber security, as all our speakers mentioned, is utmost important. It is very important to give training and awareness, create awareness amongst folks about cyber security, what to use, what not to use, and take all the precautions depending upon the areas of work. Sir, Professor Sanjeeva sir, would you like to comment? Professor Dubey sir?
I think he has dropped. He just dropped a message on the WhatsApp. He has logged out.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Sir, your last comments. Ashok sir, your last comments.
Yeah, so actually, I was just like listening to what Mr. Deepak was stating. I mean, and basically in the data collection, I think the one very important point is like collecting the data of relevance. Like, I mean, it is not just basically we require a volume of data. I think that is what also I call poor data collection, when basically the data is huge, but it is of no relevance. So collecting the data of relevance is also a very key to doing a fine analytics on it. And data privacy maybe, I mean, I would not say it's really a myth. I mean, because I would like to protect my data, because like, I mean, even if I am on smartphone, I will wish to share whatever data I want to share. It has to be voluntarily. It cannot be basically forced upon me. So that is something which I'll like to mention.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. The topic, it is very apt in today's data analytics in Industry 4.0 or Industrial Revolution 4.0. There has been a remarkable progress, as mentioned by our speakers, in terms of AI chips, as Ashok sir mentioned, Deepak sir mentioned about the various aspects of logistics, entertainment, insurance, then education, as well as e-commerce and health. He mentioned about that, and Professor mentioned about the social prowess and technology prowess as such, and how promoting touchless technology would be the current scenario in Industry 4.0. With that, we'll come to end to this panel discussion. We are open for questions if audience has any question to any of the experts.
I think there are no more questions, sir.
All right. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir. It was great to listen about the perspective that addresses all the concepts.
I think there is one question, madam.
To this, we come to okay.
Professor.
Dr. Sirohi, there is one question from someone.
Okay. Sir, I'm just
this is,
looking
I think,
for the
Pranav
question.
asking. He says, Amit Aggarwal says it will be better to only collect the relevant data from the point of view of research and not collect any personal data from the surveys. I don't know. Yes, Rishi, over to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
क्या कह रहे हैं ये मुझे समझ नहीं आया.
Yeah, Amit Aggarwal is asking, it will be better to only collect the relevant data from point of view of research and not collect any personal data from the surveys. Okay, I think is personal data from the surveys. So there are surveys which are conducted both by government as well as private institutions. In fact, Nielsen does a lot of surveys across the country. And they do a lot of market related data surveys, and a lot of data is collected, but I don't think any personal information is collected. In fact, government collects a lot of data. If they are doing 7th economic census, in fact, 7th economic census is going on for Government of India, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is collecting data and trying to which will give the policy makers actually the inputs, so that they are able to basically design the policies for the coming years. Sir, Deepak sir, if you would like to comment on the question of relevant data from the point of view of research and not collect any personal data from the survey.
Sir, 1 second, sir. Hello, can I speak, sir? I have a my comment. There is a comment from Pranav Sahi Bisan. Actually, that is the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's asking Rishi, one person, Pranav Shahi Bisain, he says, he's asked, I think a student, he says that Deepak sir clearly mentioned data privacy is a myth. what would be plausible solutions to bridge the gap between safeguarding from misuse of data, but also have the same for research and better use of same? But I think he's trying to say that we do collect data, and Deepak ji is saying that data privacy is a myth. But what is the solution that, we have to collect data anyhow, and how do we prevent the misuse of data? That is what Deepak, this question is going.
Exactly, sir. So when I say data privacy is a myth, I would like to highlight that it is like, if I feel that my data is safe and secure, it's a myth in today's life, because recently we have seen that most of the, like in many applications, am I audible?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Many applications got banned because they were somewhere compromising on the data, right? Is it in the news also? So when I say that my data is safe and secure, I'm saying that part is a myth, because a lot of like in spoofing activities is happening, and a lot of data exchange happens. Like, even if you must have experience, you have given your data to one particular reason, and next day you start getting calls that would you offer for something, like would you able like here to avail that? So work at the data privacy, the most important part is ethics. If ethics are there in place, if values are there in place, your data will be safe. Otherwise, if you just think about that technology is going to save it, then every new day will get some other mechanism to penetrate into that, and will get they all go hand in hand. Like hacking also go in hand in hand, and then the security measures also go in hand in hand. It all depends on how ethically I'm collecting that data, and what should I feel that it should not be compromised just because of a human error or some mischievous thought in my mind, right? So that's why I'm saying that whenever we say the data privacy is a myth, that we cannot completely control the privacy of the data just because of technology. A lot of onus goes on the the organization which is collecting that data for a lot of ethics should be built, which actually save our data, and because nobody is going to give the data with the intention that it will get compromised. Everybody is giving the data with a good intent that it will get for the society. So ethics is the only thing which I feel is very much important for all this activities. But yes, we have the cybersecurity algos in place. We have various firewalls and everything in place, and it should not be like a simple Tom, Dick, Harry activity to breach the security and get the data. It should not be like that. And that's why a lot of work has been happening in the safety and security of the data. But a lot of onus goes on the ethics. This is what I would like to say here. Thank you.
I think fairly well answered, sir. I think over to you, ma'am. There are questions coming actually.
One more question.
More questions.
So Himanshu Aggarwal is asking. Actually, we are running short of time.
Okay.
For the next session.
Himanshu is asking about finance and IT combination during MBA and what opportunity it opens in the future. Okay, I think this is a career-oriented question.
I'll tell you. I'd like to answer this. In fact, in entire stock market business, entire financial services business, you have a lot of requirement for people who understand how technology gets intertwined with the data. Like, for example, if you look at the credit risk issue today, banks have put a moratorium on the loans. Now, banks would need data analytics and those who understand IT systems to ensure that once the moratorium is over, how credit rating. But still, a lot of people will not pay, post the moratorium. Probably they'll not be in a position to pay at all because their businesses have closed down. Now, remember that IT systems have the capacity to understand large amount of data at a very short span of time. We cannot let our banking system close down today. There is only one way, the stock markets, there is only one way that financial systems can run. It is through right and enabling information technology infrastructure with right softwares and, of course, data collection and data. Whether it is related to equity markets, like for example, the equity markets. I told in the morning, equity markets function on very high-end systems. And last year in 2013-14, there was a case on National Stock Exchange where brokers who are, this is called co-location problem. Brokers who are near to the exchange get data faster than brokers who are in Chennai or Delhi. So what really happened, that the problem was that they were supposed to change the data cables and they were supposed to put optical fiber network and other things. They did not put it in time. Now this gave undue benefit because data speeds at which, so if my computer gets data earlier, I'll be able to punch the order earlier. So today there is no management without information technology. There is no finance without information technology. There is no capital market without information technology. There is no education without information technology. If there is anything, so now why do we say this phone has so many apps, right? This phone has so many apps. So if this app, if you don't have IT information, IT education, there will be no apps available and there will be no mobile phone. So there is no communication without information technology. Today, a mobile phone is not a piece of hardware. It's basically a very sophisticated software embedded kind of a system. So what we need to understand that today, I think, every discipline, whether it is finance, marketing, everywhere, digital marketing, we need to understand that everyone needs to go into this idea that IT, as Professor Aggarwal said, is a tool which is everywhere. So please forget about the idea about specializing in IT. Understand that even if you don't specialize in IT, we will expect the same level of knowledge from you about information technology. So as a director of the institute, I have been able to build an IT backbone for the institute, for library systems, for examination systems, only because I'm not an engineer. But yes, I'm a science graduate, I'm a PhD in finance. I understand those things, so I was able to do it. Your efficiency goes down if you do not understand IT in any of the areas. So it's a must for everybody to understand it. But don't go by the idea that taking a specialization is the only way to learn a subject. You take a specialization in anything you want, but yes, the knowledge of IT is very, very important.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there are more questions. So should we continue with the questions or should we conclude with a vote of thanks?
We have to start with the tracks, Preeti ji. So I think.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful panel discussion.
What I'm saying, Sachin ji, can we just have one or two important questions out of this from other experts also? Ashok Bhatt sahab baithe hain, so he can answer one question.
Sir, there is a question.
There are a lot of questions. If there is any genuine question, if you find Rishi out of these, you can just take one or two more.
Yeah, one is about the doing data analysis part and building a machine learning model, and where can they get business and real, I think he refers to the business real-time data of building a machine learning model for doing data analysis. So,
I mean,
it has to be, yeah.
There are several examples. There are several things you can pick up, right? I mean, you can even pick up. I mean, as simple as like if you want to build up a machine learning application, you can just simply pick up a scanned document and see whether you can convert it to a PDF or not. Because like to convert it to a where you can identify what has been written and convert into a Word document or not. So there are so many applications of ML which you can develop, and this is a real business. This is a real business problem. Once you scan the document, you can't basically edit it, but if you can read the document, convert it to a Word, and then you can edit it. So basically there are so many applications you can build up using the ML model and do the solve the problem. I mean, that is basically immediately what comes to my mind. I mean, yeah,
we can do simulation also, and maybe some forecasting models could be used to generate these kind of reports. Software implement the data to solve the problem. Never discount the knowledge part. Okay, sir. I think we can close now. Yeah.
Please close kariye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the panel members for the wonderful discussion on data analytics in the Industry 4.0. I would like to request Professor Shilesh Sharma to propose the vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. Respected Director Sir, Dean Academics, Conference Chair, distinguished speakers, faculty members, and participant delegates across the globe. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful session of International Conference on Emerging Trends in IT and Data Science. I, Dr. Silas Kumar Sharma, on behalf of our IMS family and my own behalf, express my sincere thanks to distinguished speakers, Mr. Rishikesh Patankar, Professor Sanjeeva Shankar Dubey, Mr. Deepak Sharma, and Mr. Ashok Bhatt for sharing their valuable thoughts on progress and challenges of data analytics in Industry 4.0 while sparing their precious time with us. Thanking you all for this wonderful session. I also express my sincere thanks to all the delegates from corporate and academia for sparing their precious time in this knowledge share session. I am very grateful to our director, sir, for his guidance and initiative to conduct online international conference during this tough time of COVID-19. This conference will be very helpful to all the participants in their academics and research work. I extend my special thanks to Dean Academics for his guidance and overall support in the organizing and executing of this conference. I also extend my special thanks to Conference Chair Dr. Sachin Malhotra, Convener Dr. Nipin Dwivedi, Co-Conveners Mr. Rajneesh Jain, Ms. Preeti Shiroi, Mr. Avnish Vasist, and Mr. Pankaj Aggarwal for hard work in planning and execution of this conference. I also extend my special thanks to supporting IT staff and faculty coordinator of this session, Ms. Preeti Shiroi and Ahisha Bharadwaj for its flawless execution. Once again, thank you very much. Over to Preeti ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to request our director, sir, Professor Alok Pandey, patron of the conference, to kindly permit us to present e-memento as a token of gratitude to our expert and session moderator for today's panel, Mr. Rishikesh Patankar.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'd like to request our director, sir, Professor Alok Pandey, to kindly permit us to present e-memento as a token of gratitude to our panelists for today's panel, Professor Sanjeeva Shankar.
Please, madam, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. With the permission of our director, sir, we now present e-memento as a token of gratitude to our panelist for today's panel, Mr. Deepak Sharma. Thank you, sir. I request our director, sir, Professor Alok Pandey, to kindly permit us to present e-memento as a token of gratitude to our panelist, Mr. Ashok Bhatt.
Let's go.
The technical session 1 is going to start soon. The presenters of the technical session track 1 should join through Cisco WebEx, and the presenters of track 2 should join by Zoom. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Stay safe, stay home.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.